Well, hello there, and welcome to On the Tube with Ely. I am your host, Ely, and I am so thrilled that you could join me for today's show. Now, this show is intended not to give medical advice or to recommend treatments to you in any way, but solely for informative purposes. We give you information so that you can make an informed decision about your health, which is so vitally important. Okay. So with that being said, this week we will talk about cancer and oxygen. Okay. Now, because organizations like the American Cancer Society, Johns Hopkins, and others by name, they don't really endorse oxygen therapy treatment, but some doctors do. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, well, what's really the truth here? Okay. Oxygen, remember that the more people who have cancer, the more money the drug and medical industry makes, right? So let's dive into some information about oxygen and cancer, and then you can have a better idea of what is the underlying truth. Knowledge is power, right? Right. Okay, so according to Dr. Mark Circusac, C-I-R-C-U-S-A-C, he's an OMD and a DM. He's the Director, International Medical Varieties Association, and Doctor of Oriental and Pastoral Medicine. Okay, now, we can live a long time without food. We might live a few days without drinking. But without breath, it's impossible. It's only measured in minutes before we would perish. So what is breath? Breath is oxygen, right? Okay, so something so essential deserves our full attention, I think. But it rarely gets it unless, you're a yoga practitioner or something like that, Or maybe a musical, voice instructor. They might focus a lot on breath. Okay. But breath is, it is the most important of all the body functions. It's most important because you just can't not live without that breath. Some form of oxygen, be it coming from you or a machine or whatever, you need that oxygen, right? Okay, so we need oxygen, and now we got the huge federal government wanting to make oxygen a twin into public enemy number one. Our twin, brother. Public enemy number one. And that's a sin, okay? That is a sin to deem oxygen as public enemy number one. But anyway, so researchers have found that an increase of 1.2 metabolic white oxygen consumption. 1.2 metabolic units of oxygen consumption was related to a decreased risk of cancer death. Decreased risk of cancer death, especially in lung cancer and intestinal cancers. Okay, those two in particular. I mean, I guess all of them, but those two in particular. So, but there are some contradictory reports out there that claim oxygen can increase the growth of tumors. Yet the makeup of the human body is largely composed of the element oxygen. Okay, so it's logical that something we need so badly to live, that it would aid in the termination of the body, don't really make sense to me. But I've provided a link to further elaborate on this particular subject. I've provided that link, and you can go there and read it. But we need carbon. Oh, just lost my necklace. I told you this show is live. We need carbon and oxygen every moment of every day, or we will die. Okay, the prime cause of cancer in the replacement of the respiration of oxygen is normal in normal body cells by let me put my glasses on, because I want to make sure that I get the right information to you. Now it says the prime cause of cancer is the replacement of the respiration of oxygen in normal body cells by a fermentation of sugar. Okay? Oxygen levels are sensitive to a myriad of influences: toxicity, emotional stress, physical trauma, infections, reduction of atmospheric oxygen, nutritional status, lack of exercise, and especially improper breathing will affect the oxygen levels in our bodies. So it is important to try to remain stress-free as much as possible, to eat properly, get enough sleep, exercise, and breathe properly. You know, a lot of people, they don't breathe. When they breathe, that when they inhale, they pull the stomach in, but that's improper. When you inhale, you push the stomach out, and when you exhale, the stomach comes in. So it's like. So if you ever watched a baby breathe when they sleeping, and you'll notice that their little stomachs, they so cute, their little stomachs, they be going out, when they breathe in. Well, that's the proper way to breathe. But so many people breathe just the opposite. They, pull in when they inhale, and that's improper. So you want to, try to practice breathing properly. When you inhale, you push the stomach out. When you exhale, you bring the stomach in. Okay? All right. So any element that threatens the oxygen carrying capacity of the human body will or can promote cancer growth. And likewise, any therapy that improves the oxygen function can be expected to enhance the body's defense against cancer. You would think, right? I certainly think so. So in order for cancer to establish a foothold in the body, well, it has to be deprived of oxygen and it becomes acidic. So if these two conditions can be reversed, cancer can not only be slowed down, but it can be actually overturned. So oxygen is the source of health. Oxygen is essential to the human body, extending effects beyond breathing. Okay? So then we got some more information from a Dr. D.F. Treacher and Dr. R.M. Leach. Okay? And they write that Mammalian life and the bioenergetic processes that maintain cellular integrity depend on a continuous supply of oxygen to sustain aerobic metabolism. Okay, so prevention, early identification, and correction of tissue hypoxia are essential skills. Not enough oxygen to the brain is the main cause of memory loss. Okay, so, and the inability to find the right words, or getting words mixed up and not being able to speak in some sentences. Well, in 1920s, Dr. Otto Warburg, he carried out a great deal of work on cancer's basic mechanism and was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1932. And I know that was a long time ago, but this disease has been around since, what, 1500 BC? Okay, back in ancient Egypt. But Warburg's work clearly demonstrated that cancer is fundamentally a relatively simple disease where cell oxygen levels fall to a level sufficiently low enough for the cell to change in nature. And without a dependable supply of oxygen, the cells in our bodies cannot function properly. So nutrients in our diets must have oxygen present to convert their potential energy into usable energy. In order for new cells to be formed, hundreds of amino acids must link together using oxygen as the source of their energy. And all normal body cells meet their energy needs by respiration of oxygen, whereas cancer cells meet their energy needs in great part by fermentation. And so poor oxygenation comes from a buildup of carcinogens and other toxins within and around the cells, which block and then damage the cellular oxygen respiration mechanism. And as more acid waste back up, and the oral administration, well, actually, no, when they back up, the body slowly stews in its own poisonous waste. Okay, so a chronically over acidic body, pH, corrodes body tissue, slowly eating into 60,000 miles of our veins and arteries, like acid eating into marble. Wow. So there is just so much more information in this report. So please be sure to visit the links that I provide for you. I mean, I can't even go through all the information because I don't, first of all, have enough time to do so. But cancer needs anaerobic, airless conditions to grow and spread. Okay. Now notice I said airless conditions to grow and spread. So that means that there's a condition where there's no oxygen. And so where there's no oxygen, here this cancer is that, it start growing. So doctors, they need to consider both the altered cells and the infectious pathogens thriving off these cells as the combined enemy we call cancer. Well, in 1966, after Dr. Warburg's efforts, they had been basically ignored by the cancer industry for over 30 years. Well, they finally, his work was never refuted now, but it was avoided by orthodox oncology. Well, why do you think that might be? Could be because if this Dr. Warburg had tried to cure cancer, especially during that time, they wouldn't have been able to make any money, because people wouldn't need to go to an oncologist. People wouldn't need to have chemotherapy. People wouldn't need to have radiation. People wouldn't need to have mastectomies or lumpectomies. Okay? So But on August the 1st, in 2009, it was published in the journal Cancer Today that a groundbreaking study revealing that injecting oxygen into cancerous tumors significantly boosts the chances of recovery. Now, this is Dr. Warburg's work. Let me read that again. That a groundbreaking study revealing that injecting oxygen into cancerous tumors significantly boosts the chances of recovery. So it's almost diabolic to suppress information about a possible cure for cancer because it might decrease your income flow. That's diabolic. That's evil, you know. So please be sure to read some more of this material, you know, and you'll find it very enlightening because Dr. Warburg, he goes into quite a lengthy explanation of his theory and some instances where he had used it and the results of what happened with those tests. Okay, so it's saying that you need to get this oxygen injected into the body. So what are some ways to get oxygen into the body? Well, you can eat some foods, you know, especially green leafy foods. Plants, beautiful plants, they supply oxygen. And now that's just a itty bit, you know, it won't really get it totally into the bloodstream, but it would really help. So, but sodium bicarbonate is said to be safe, according to Dr. Warburg, when taken with appropriate caution and knowledge. So, I mean, it's extremely inexpensive and it's effective when it comes to reducing cancer tissues. But notice that I said with appropriate caution and knowledge. So make sure that if you're considering sodium bicarbonate, you know, which is what? Baking soda, make sure that you know exactly the amount to take and how, and the amount of the dose and the amount of time that you should take this stuff. Okay. So he says that it's an irresistible chemical. It's actually cyanide to cancer cells. You know, cyanide is like poison. You know, so poison, what does it do? It kills. So sodium bicarbonate is like cyanide to cancer cells. So for when it hits the cancer cells with a shock wave of alkalinity, okay, which allows much more oxygen into the cancer cells than they can tolerate. Cool, huh? Well, I like the sound of that. So cancer cells do not survive well in the presence of higher levels of oxygen. You know, and so I'm not understanding why they're not promoting more use of oxygen. I read another report, and there's a link on there where you can read where this one doctor, he's going on and on about how you know, oxygen is not good for you. It's not, it won't do this and it won't do that. But I'm you know, what I'm doing is I'm thinking for myself. I'm thinking about logic, you know, what's logic. So if the cancer cells, I mean, if they need a certain type of environment to thrive and grow, but they can't thrive and grow in an oxygenated environment, well, why wouldn't you want to oxygenate your environment, your body? Why wouldn't you? Okay. So anyway, this other doctor, Tullio Simoncini, He's the founder of the bicarbonate approach, and he says that he believes that only several types of cancer can be approached through oral application of bicarbonate. So you make sure that you find out if you do have cancer, if your type of cancer is one of the ones that can be approached with this application of baking soda. And he suggests, he suggests expensive and hard to get means. But then they said that Dr. Simone, he didn't realize that when bicarbonate is taken orally, the full body pH is shifted dramatically higher, affecting our tissues, including the brains and bones. And see, that's where research comes in, because one doctor may start a study on something and his determination may be, boom, you can't do this. But then as the research and studies continue, then they find out that, uh-oh, wait a minute, wow, yes you can. Yes, you can. And this is what is happening with the study of the bicarbonate approach. So it says that he didn't understand that the oral administration is actually a superior method for all cancers, because higher pH and oxygen levels can be maintained 24 hours a day, constantly wearing down tumors and individual cancer cells wherever they might be. I just really like this theory about the oxygen. And you know why? Because it's God-given. God puts oxygen in your body to survive. You know, why would he give you something that's going to kill you? You know, that to me doesn't resonate. I really don't get that part. But there is just so much information. There were tests done to disprove, to prove and to disprove Dr. Warburg's theory about oxygen helping to dispel cancer. But the link that I provide, will give you more into the matter, where they found more proof that to prove his theory to be true than not to be true. Okay? So I would go with those odds. What about you? What about you? Yeah. Okay. So they even talk about some elixirs, and there's so many. I'm just not going to go into all of them and what they do, but you can read what these different elixirs can do to help you fight cancer and to provide oxygen for your body. Because chemotherapy and radiation, they're used to fight cancer because cancer cells are weaker than normal cells, and they might die first. But chemo and radiation, they damage the respiratory enzymes in healthy cells. Now, and listen, I can attest to that. I'm a living witness. I had chemo, and I'm telling you, there was a lot of things broken down in my body from the chemo. Like, for instance, I have nerves that have been damaged, which is called neuropathy, where I get, sharp pains and tingling and numbness in my toes and in my fingers. I just recently had the stick pin test, where they stick the little pins in your toes and stuff to see can you feel it, and I couldn't hardly feel anything. So who wants to be left like that? If you can help it. Now, I'm not saying that there's some instances where the chemo doesn't help the person. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if you can avoid it, avoid it. If something as simple as oxygen that God gives you, and if you can get this oxygen through sodium bicarbonate or some other means, then why wouldn't you do it? I don't suggest drinking hydrogen peroxide like some of the reports have stated. That was before they did extensive tests, you know. So then, because it was working, but what was happening was the hydrogen peroxide was burning holes, I guess, in the intestines or something. It was, you know, eating away. And so that was not a good thing. So there's other ways to get this oxygen besides drinking diluted hydrogen peroxide. So don't do that. Don't do that, okay? Now, okay. So there's several ways to significantly increase oxygen levels in your cells so that you can kill cancer cells and prevent them from spreading. And the most effective way is to take an oxygen supplement. I think this is where this elixir comes in at. And that will literally produce much more oxygen in your cells. And the names and descriptions of these elixirs have been provided in the links that I have put in the credits. Okay. So now that you have a better idea of just how oxygen can help you to prevent cancer or to kill cancer cells or to stop them from growing, stop them dead in their tracks, I hope that you've learned something. And I hope that somebody out there that's watching, this is beneficial information for you, you know. And even if nothing else, if you just learn how to breathe properly, because I'm telling you, before I had a choir director, and he's the one that taught us proper breathing, because before I used to breathe improper. I mean, I would suck my stomach in like to inhale and push out to exhale. I didn't know, you know. So now that I know, my voice got stronger. I can hold a note longer, you know. And by the way, I'm a singer, so it's very beneficial for singers to know how to breathe properly. And you're getting more oxygen to the body and to the brains. So isn't that awesome? Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the show for this week. And I hope that you will like, subscribe. Please subscribe. And don't forget to share. Share. Because you never know who might be needing this information. And with that being said, I hope to see you next week. You have been watching On the Tube with Ely. God bless. I need saving, y'all. Ooh, yeah. There was a time when I thought I was invincible. That nothing could get to me. Oh, but then I met you, baby, and you changed me. Oh, now I need saving. You cried in my mind. Cried in my heart. You took my love and you tore it apart. Oh, I don't know how that happened. Oh, but now I need saving. baby. You cried in my mind. You cried in my heart. You took my love and you tore it apart. Oh, I don't